And I'm also going to start recording if that's okay for people who are not able to make it. I always have a hard time with sharing screens, so I'll keep you updated on that. Okay, sweet. Hey, that wasn't too painful. Okay, so welcome everyone to our first annual point of sale community conversation. This is the first time we've ever had this event, just because, you know, TPC didn't exist in Jay County before that. But my name is Sydney Haynes, and I appreciate you all introducing yourself. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself now. I'm the Tobacco Prevention and Cessation Project Coordinator at the Jay County Drug Prevention Coalition. I always like to tell people that I am the TPCPC at the JCDPC because I think it's really funny and really extra. I got my Bachelor's of Science and Social Services in General Psychology from Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona in 2017, moved back home. And if you're a personality test person like I am, I'm an Enneagram 2 with even wings. My personality Myers-Briggs is ENFJ, and on the Strengths Finder, I'm restorer, encourager, and believer. My husband's name is Graham. My dogs are Gideon and Pinecone, and I'm currently attempting, and to be honest with you, failing to learn Spanish. So that's just a fun fact about me and my life right now. But I wanted to talk more about what point of sale actually is and just kind of define it initially to give you guys an idea about what we're going to be talking about today. And we are going to have our guest speaker have an interview a little bit later, and also just collaborate as a community and have a conversation. But just let you know, the chat feature is available if you have any questions throughout, or if you want to share something without muting yourself, and I will look at the questions at the end. So what is point of sale? So point of sale, in such an obvious definition, just refers to the place at which goods are retailed. So anywhere where something is sold is the point of sale, right? But as far as tobacco point of sale marketing goes, it refers to marketing tobacco products to consumers at the point of sale. So we all know that a lot of tobacco retailers like convenience stores and gas stations have other products that are for sale other than tobacco products, but they market tobacco products at those point of sale locations. And the marketing techniques that are included involve location and placement and convenience of access. And examples of those things are price promotions, in-store displays, product placement, and retail advertising in general. This is especially concerning though, and what I want to focus on is the fact that retailers market specifically to youth in our community, I mean, throughout the country, but also in our community, and that's what I wanted to focus on for the most part today. So why does it matter? There are 4 things that point of sale really focuses on. And the first being industry marketing and spending. Just to give you guys an idea of how much is spent regarding point of sale without any specifics. In 2018, and I hope you let this like really sink into you because it's so much money. In the US, $9.1 billion in 2018 was spent on tobacco marketing in general. That's literally over $1 million per hour. I wish I had $1 million per hour. But 92% of that total happened at the point of sale. And in 2018, of that 9.1 billion spent in the entire United States, Indiana accounted for $298 million of that. And as far as it broken down to like more specific amounts and where they spend that money, 8.2 billion was spent on price discounts and promotions. 87.5 million were spent on advertising, and oh, that's not supposed to be a million. $373,000 was spent on coupons. Can you imagine $373 million? Another piece to this, secondly, is youth tobacco use initiation. So this is where I really want to hone in on for this specific part of point of sale. There's so many different aspects, but if we're focusing on them marketing to youth, 50% of 13 to 16-year-olds visit convenience stores weekly. So that's half, right, of our youth going into a convenience store just to get candy or a pop or something. And 18% of adolescents start smoking 12 months after being exposed to some type of marketing just once. 18% of those that go into convenience stores literally see one ad and start smoking either e-cigarettes or any type of tobacco product 12 months after being exposed. So we see there's definitely a significant correlation. And obviously this also means that, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. What's happening? This, of course, feels like accurate. Oh, here we go. This is what I want. Sorry, that was not that difficult. Am I still sharing or no? No? Okay. Here you go. It wouldn't be my presentation if parts of it didn't get messed up at least once. Let's see. Is it coming up? Come on, internet, you can do it. Okay, sweet. Sorry about that, guys. So the third piece to point of sale marketing is just that it makes quit attempts more difficult, right? So when it comes to people trying to quit tobacco, we will see in some pictures that I took that how am I supposed to, as a previous tobacco user, not be tempted to start smoking when there's ads at my gas pump, right? Whenever I go to pay for my Polar Pop and I just see this huge tobacco wall, in addition to like lighters right beside where I'm supposed to insert my card to pay for that pop. So it does make quit attempts much more difficult. And lastly, the last piece of point of sale marketing is density and proximity. And that just refers to the measure of the concentration or clustering of tobacco retailers or in an area. So a low density of a cluster of tobacco retailers in an area would be 1 to 5 per 1,000 residents. High is just greater than 5. And we'll talk about exactly what that looks like in Jay County on the next slide. Oh my goodness. I don't know how I just keep scrolling right through again. Hold on. Hold on. How does this keep happening? I'm not very good at this. Okay. I got it again. Resharing. You guys are getting a show. Okay, I'm just like gonna not touch things now. Okay. Not touching my mouse until I'm ready. So this graph will show exactly for Jay County how many retailers we have and also how close together they are. So in Jay County, we have 24 of the almost 7,000 licensed tobacco retailers in Indiana total as a state. And the density is 1.2 per 1,000, which is just over the state average. We have 0 within 1,000% of a school, 1,000 feet of a school, which is so great. I'm so happy about that. But as a state, typically, our average is 17% of the tobacco retailers are within 1,000 feet of a school. And lastly, percentage of tobacco retailers within 500 feet of another one is 48%, which is really close to the state average. Which actually, if you live in Jay County, it's not that surprising to me, just because I know that there's a decent cluster of tobacco retailers all together in one area. So these are examples of tobacco walls that I took in my like point of sale audit for the county. And I think it's really interesting that the like lighters and different products are just as accessible as the Mentos. Whenever you think about someone trying to quit, as I just said, imagine like you trying to stop smoking or stop using your e-cigarette, even as a youth or an adult. and you walk up to pay for something and this is all you see. It would definitely make everything so much more difficult for you. And that doesn't include even if you're just like paying at a gas pump for gas, there's still a lot of times ads at your gas pump. Now we're gonna play a quick game, okay? I want you to look at the first picture as we talk about products that are close to, that are children's products that are close to tobacco products. Let's go ahead and look at the first one and kind of think what in this first picture would be a children's product, okay? Type in the chat if you're able to see in the first picture what an example would be of a children's product. And Virgil, if someone just types in the chat, can you just read it to me? That would be great, because my computer is being wild and I don't want to touch it.
Amanda said gum.
Gum, yeah.
And candy bars.
Yes.
That was said next.
Okay, we'll go ahead and look. She's right, the gum. And I know this is like, you know, a wall away, but it's still within 5 feet. And so I would consider that close enough. And also notice that a lot of the bright coloring is similar on candy bars and tobacco products. So not only are children looking at candy bars based on the color of what they are or gum or whatever, but they're also drawn to other products that have similar coloring and marketing. And so that's something to think about when we're talking about this. Go ahead and look in the second picture and see if you can find, there's one really specific thing. I'm not talking like children use soap. I'm talking like one really specific thing that caught my eye. So if you can see something, go ahead and type it in the chat. A children's product in the second picture.
Sunglasses.
Yes.
Was mentioned.
Yes, sunglasses was the number one thing that I was thinking personally. There you go. So those pink ones really stood out to me just because, I mean, green ones too. I mean, any of these sunglasses could be used for kids. But the green is almost exactly the same color as the color on the Cheyenne cigarettes. And I was like, that's so terrible. They're so close together. So you can't deny that this one is really close because it's within inches of tobacco products. Okay, and go ahead and look at the last one. Does anyone see any children's products in the last photo? Okay, I'll go ahead and share. So I do see the umbrellas and they're brightly colored, but that's kind of a stretch. You know what I mean? Like everyone uses umbrellas. There's all of these products that could be attentive to kids, but what really stood out to me were the speakers on top of the shelf, just because that's something that is really relevant to youth today. And I think that that would be something that they would have to look past tobacco products to see. So I thought that was really interesting because it wasn't like they were just keeping it up there for stock. They were literally like putting it up there with a price for someone to look at on top of tobacco products. So that placement was really significant to me. So it's at this point now that I've kind of drawn your attention to the idea of youth and children marketing based on tobacco products that I wanted to introduce the youth that we are interviewing today. Her name is Chloe Campbell. She doesn't know what I put on this slide for her, so she's going to be surprised too. She's a senior at the Jay County Junior Senior High this year. She is the 2020 Lilly Scholar recipient, which is really amazing. Please take time to congratulate her. She deserves all of that. She will be attending Ball State for speech pathology in the fall. She regularly volunteers for church groups, which is how I know her. She was one of our youth featured on the JCDPC radio ads. She did a great job. And actually Gavin joined her too. And that's one of the things I listed was that she loves spending time with her longtime boyfriend Gavin and her dog named Augie and her cat named Noodle. So Chloe, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We're gonna just go ahead and jump right into the interview questions. And if anybody else has any questions for Chloe, just type them in the chat and we will get to them after I just ask her a couple of questions about tobacco use in school and also just marketing. So Chloe, do you often see people using tobacco in school? And I know James is here, so don't use any names. But like typically in the bathroom or outside or in their cars or whatever, like, and just include like the past couple of years of you being there.
Mhm. I can definitely say when I was like a freshman, sophomore, I saw a lot more than I do now. Like you could walk through the parking lot and there'll just be like jewel pods all over the ground. And then I did see it in class like multiple times. I would say now I don't really see it in the girls' bathroom, very rarely, but if I ask like my boyfriend Gavin, like anytime he walks in the boys' bathroom, there's always a crowd of kids. Like no matter during class, passing time, there's always a crowd of guys um vaping, not smoking, but yeah, vaping.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely like the what I see is decreased, at least in the seniors, but I know it definitely still happens.
Yeah, for sure. And is that very surprising when you find that out, or is it pretty common now, do you feel like?
I think it was definitely really surprising like my freshman and sophomore years. But now it's kind of just used to it. But I think a lot of the people like in my grade that would do it during class, like I would see, I don't really see them do it now. It's normally like the younger grades.
Yeah.
So
So are you saying like people who kind of came in like freshmen this year-ish?
yeah, like freshmen, sophomores, I think are the majority that like are seen doing it.
Yeah, which is wild because that speaks to like the fact that they were using in middle school, which is
Yeah, and I
wild.
definitely know I might even be a bigger problem in the middle school than the high school. Like I've heard like a lot of kids like just recently like got caught and like it's all over the middle school, which is even more concerning.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like there, because of like the group gathering and stuff, do you feel like there's a lot of peer pressure surrounding people to use it? Um,
I think there definitely is. Like I don't think I've never like been offered or had like that experience, but um like when I asked Gavin again, he said like normally once a month he gets asked like, oh, do you want a hit of this? Like even if he doesn't know the person, like they just share it around like anyone they know.
they're like wearing masks because of COVID, but like do
Yeah,
it's
yeah, exactly.
a little counterproductive. Um, and then do you know like where people typically get their products? Do you feel like their parents are pretty okay with them using, or do they have friends that buy it for them?
Sorry, you cut out. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So when it comes to
Okay.
like them having access to products, do you feel like they oh my gosh, Zoom removed the time limit on my meeting. That's so exciting. Okay. When it comes to like where people get access for the products, do you think they get it from their parents because they're not really concerned, or like friends, or
I think the majority of what I heard is like older siblings, like someone's
oh,
older sibling will like purchase it for them or purchase a bunch and then those kids go and sell it at school. So other kids get it from other kids selling it that they get from their older siblings.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's not really that surprising to me actually. Um, but as far as receiving education in high school, I feel like you probably have heard about vaping and have like had
Mhm.
a lot of education. Does any education that was given to you stand out at all?
I feel like what I would learn on like a class setting, like health class, was just like the generic, like that you've learned since like middle school, like nothing really new because there's not that much like statistics yet. But I feel like the one I most remember is like the convocation we had like last year or 2 years ago that I think you spoke at. But
It was,
yeah.
I did it. No, that's a good point though. Do you feel like that information could be updated to maybe hinder? Do you think that would matter?
I think if it was like more focused on, because I think when you like learn about that in a health class, it's just like the one like paragraph, like don't do drugs, don't smoke, and but it doesn't really go into like the actual effects of it.
Right. Yeah. So just a couple of questions about tobacco marketing specifically related to what you see. Um, whenever you go to gas stations, do you like actually notice like tobacco ads and stuff?
Yeah, I feel like at first, like I did when I first like started driving, I didn't realize like how it was everywhere. Like even like the giant signs, like at the gas station Walmart, like they always advertise like the price of a carton of cigarettes or like the price like Juul is on sale. But now it's just kind of like I don't notice them because they're always there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It just kind of becomes your environment and then you stop paying
Yeah.
attention to it. Yeah, I totally get that. Do you ever see any of your friends post about vaping or using tobacco products at all on social media? And I don't mean that they're like, Jewel, they're like, do they like use it on their Snapchat story, Instagram, whatever?
Yeah. I wouldn't say maybe like acquaintances, just people I have on Snapchat. I definitely do like see it. Or if like a lot of people will be like, oh, who has pods I can buy? Like they just post it on their Snapchat story.
Mhm.
Or like a lot of that, or it's just like in the background of pictures and they just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting because technically it's illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal now. Yeah, that's wild. Do you notice any influencers or people that you aren't necessarily like close with, but have some sort of level of influence, like on Instagram, probably mostly Instagram, but maybe TikTok, using any type of vaping product at all?
I feel like for the people I follow, not really. But like it has on TikTok because it's not based on who you follow, like just the like suggested it you do see it like quite a bit on there, or even just like the explore page on Instagram, like you do see it. And even like certain ads, like because they like are targeted to like what age you put in, like ads come up on like Snapchat like about tobacco products.
Yeah. And that's so interesting to me because on my For You page on TikTok, I've never seen anyone vaping. And like my that page on Instagram too, I never see that. So it really is
Yeah.
specific to like your age group, which is
Mhm.
so weird. So weird. Well, Chloe, is there anything else that you want to share about this topic or share about your experience or anything that anyone needs to know while you have all 14 individuals' attentions?
I would just say it's like concerning to me how it's not like I don't really see a lot of people my age doing it in school. I don't know if it's just because they've been doing it for so long that they've like learned to live without it at school, like it's just part of their routine. But it's mainly like the middle schoolers or the freshmen and the sophomores that like can't go more than a class period without it.
Yeah.
And like I hear more about it in the middle school than I do, like because at church, like the girls in my middle school small group will talk about like, oh, who got in trouble this week for having a vape in their locker.
Mm,
Like it's
yeah.
concerning to me that it's more like 12 and 13-year-olds when the age is 21.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions for Chloe? You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat either way.
There's not a question in the chat, but Bailey said that she's never seen people vaping on TikTok either, and she's 22, so she found that very interesting.
Yeah, I'm 24. So I'm really, that's what's interesting to me is that I'm not that much older than Chloe. I mean, kind of, but like it's interesting that we're not that far apart in age and we still see totally different ads and that they're marketing to you at the age of what, 18?
Me, I'm 17.
Okay.
I will be 18 in a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was also in chat that someone said that their son gets like their friends get jewels and they get them from students who have older sources. And then Andrew said, did you see the advertisements on social media for Behind the Haze?
I'm not sure. I don't recognize that. So I wouldn't say I do because I don't recognize that saying. But I definitely do think like the older kids sell to the younger kids. And I remember like one of my friends last year, she was like, oh, I know the prices for all the different kinds of jewel pods because the kid in the locker next to me just sells them to everyone. Like it was just well known.
And James is like taking notes.
I'm internalizing everything. I do have a question for Chloe.
Okay.
I know what the school does on their end to combat the vaping issues. What else, as a student, would you like to see the schools do to, um, I don't say we're going to eliminate, but minimize the
Mhm.
vaping that does take place?
I think what we do now has definitely helped. Like a lot of the kids in my grade that like have got in trouble for it, like freshman, sophomore year, haven't like had repeated offenses, a lot of them that I know of. So I think like that's been a good. I think there's only like a one or two kids that I know have like repeated offenses because they just can't go without it. Um, but I think like the metal detectors that we do help a lot because I think that's the majority of what we find in the metal detectors is vapes. But like I don't see it a lot. So I don't know if that's just because I'm only ever like in the bathrooms a few times a day, or it's just not girls my age that do it. I'm not sure. But I know it definitely is a problem for the guys. So I really don't know. I think what we're doing like is helping because I really haven't heard of that many kids in the high school. I think maybe we need to focus on the middle school and find like where they're getting their stuff from.
Do you think it would be beneficial for people to learn about ways to get help with tobacco addiction? Because we don't want to forget that it is an addiction and that people
Mhm.
actually are getting these offenses because they actually can't go without
Yeah.
it between periods or whatever. Do you feel like people know about that information or could it be better communicated?
I think it definitely could be like better communicated. And maybe like if someone's gotten in trouble for it, like have something to like inform them or like help them instead of just like getting in trouble because maybe they're more afraid of like getting in trouble and so they just keep doing it because they don't know how to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chloe, for joining us. And you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of it, but I know you're actually in school, so you can go ahead and go back. If you need a note, James
All
will write
right.
it for you. I didn't ask him beforehand, but I'm sure he will. And just thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Well, that was amazing. Right now, we're going to talk more about youth-focused marketing, and I'm going to try not to get on my my soapbox, okay? But this is the part that really just like makes me the most upset. So I probably have talked to a lot of you about this before. So essentially, Juul is one of the most well-known companies to create this whole new generation of tobacco addicts because the tobacco rates in youth and just in general were declining so much, literally so much. And then there was literally over a 100% increase in youth tobacco use whenever Juul started releasing these ads. And I'm sorry that this one is like so fuzzy because I literally screenshotted it off of Google because Juul does not advertise like this anymore because of the amount of lawsuits that they had and the fact that people caught on and said, oh, that's weird that this girl looks exactly like Ariana Grande. And they're trying to tell us that she is marketing to adults. I don't know a ton of adults that wear crop tops like this or super high ponytails. I don't know a ton of adults that wear jean jackets. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just saying that this is really interesting that this is what our youth are wearing, and they're trying to say that this isn't an advertisement to youth. So Juul actually can't advertise like this anymore. And if you look at their website now, it's very gray and white and neutral, and people over the age of 50 trying to quit smoking by using their products. But before it was only this. And now that their flavors are gone and they only have tobacco and menthol, they already have addicted a whole new generation who is just settling for menthol now because that's all they can get. So thanks for nothing, basically. That's what I'm saying. So as far as youth targeting and appeal in Jay County, these are the statistics from our point of sale audit. The amount of tobacco advertisement at a child's eye level, which would be 3 feet off the ground, was 0.12%. For J County, and in all counties, it was 0.19%. So the dark blue, when we look at these statistics, is going to be J County, and the lighter blue is all counties. And then you can see that it's higher in our county for tobacco near candy, soda, gum, ice cream, or with toys, which were the pictures that I just showed you. And then cigarillos priced less than $1. It is higher in our county, not by a ton, not as much as tobacco near candy, but still higher than all counties in Indiana. And cigarillos sold, single cigarillos sold, just one, is also higher than in all counties in Indiana, which actually isn't surprising to me being a youth that grew up here. I know that cigarillos are actually really popular in certain circles, I'll say that. But they are very popular because they do have a lot of flavors, and I wanted to talk to you about this. So a lot of these flavors don't exist anymore because you can see how much they are exactly the same as candy and child's products. What's really interesting to me is that a juice box doesn't really market to a high schooler to me. That markets to like a third grader to me. Not saying that a high schooler couldn't drink a juice box, but it's just not really the age demographic that I think about a juice box being associated with. So these right here were the like the liquid that you would put in a vape to vape. And a lot of these are not allowed to be on the market anymore. I was glad to see that so many of our retailers, when I went to do the audits, were so concerned about these addicting youth that a lot of them didn't have any flavors at all. And some of them didn't even carry e-cigarettes because they were so leery of a lawsuit in some capacity. Now, these are current flavors that are on the market. And I know this isn't e-cigarettes, but it is cigarillos, which I said, again, is really popular amongst high schoolers. And they still have the flavors like banana smash, blue raspberry, twisted cherry, peach, stuff like that. So even though we don't have as many of the vape liquid in those flavors, we still have flavors that market and appeal to our youth in different forms of tobacco. So along the lines of sale of flavored tobacco products within our county specifically, again, we're the dark blue. We kept up with the rest of the counties pretty well. Other than premium cigars, I was really surprised that cigars really aren't sold in our gas stations, but cigarillos definitely are. So as far as menthol cigarettes, we almost are exactly the same. As far as sales of cigarillos, a little less than the rest of the state. Smokeless tobacco, a little less than the rest of the state, which was kind of surprising to me, given our population. And then e-cigarettes were actually more popular, also not surprising to me, than all other counties, just because they are so prominent in our county. And then, again, like I said, cigars weren't really sold in our convenience stores, and that's why we're not listed here. So my framing question for you guys, and this is where I really want you to be typing in the chat or unmuting yourselves, because obviously it feels a little hopeless. I'm going to tell you what we can do as a county and as a community. But the question I wanted us to ask, just as like this beautiful, like, what if this was true? And we know it's like impossible, but let's just dream, you know? What if our convenience stores promoted health to our youth rather than encouraging unhealthy habits and manipulating them into addiction? What would that look like? Like, I'm picturing like a fruit stand, like instead of like a cigarette wall. Like, I'm like really trying to imagine what that would look like without any type of reality backed behind it. So go ahead and type in the chat. What would you like to see at a convenience store? Maybe it's just you don't want the ads on the windows. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we're putting positive things, positive quotes up instead of like 2-for-1 cigarette discounts. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? I want to see in the chat or unmute yourselves. Or maybe Virgil can read it.
We got sale prices.
Like no sale prices, I'm assuming?
Yes, that's what I'm guessing. Like the like discounts and stuff. No more window ads or promos. Remove of ads on windows and the tanks.
Yeah.
I think for me, Cindy, one thing that I would like to see removed is the fact that the tobacco companies have the right to place them where they want to.
Yeah.
Empowering quotes that uplift our youth. Long-term side effects advertised.
Yeah.
I also think, I mean, I know tobacco is, I feel like at some point it should just be like tobacco stores where you have to be 18 and older to go in, where youth don't have the visuals or any of that aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Only tobacco stores?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like take away from like gas stations and like CVS's and Walmart's. And I mean, no, CVS doesn't sell tobacco anymore, but like the convenience stores where kids have access to that.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that we put the products in a different place. Like I would 100% love to just put it in a store, but maybe like a more like immediate effect would be us being able to put it in a section of a gas station instead of like basically walking up and then checking out and you only see advertisements the whole time, including the tobacco wall itself as an advertisement. So maybe we just put it in like the back corner of the store instead of like, so you have to intentionally go to it instead of walking through it to get to your products.
Andrew said, talk to policymakers about changing the restrictions of the point of sales advertising. And Emily has a picture of relevant influencers with the quote about the long-term side effects beside the products.
Ooh, I like that. Sorry, I'm writing this stuff down. Beautiful. Okay. I actually think I can save the chat after this. I don't have to write stuff down. Well, thank you guys so much for those ideas. Literally, please, 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 please. I have my email on the next slide. Please send me more ideas that you have. I really want to think like, this is what gives me hope in this position, is to think like outside of the box about this stuff and talk to like policymakers, like Andrew said, and people in different positions about ways that we can collaborate as a community and just in our experience and not just educate our youth, but also change the environment that they have to go into where they're actually marketed to and exposed to these products. Virgil, did anyone else type anything? No?
Yes, let's see. Okay. The incentives that tobacco companies provide for displays is a significant income to convenience stores that it needs to be regulated. That's from John. And then a bulletin board promoting healthy options, exercise, and detrimental effects of smoking.
I love that. I'm just gonna put up a bunch of bulletin boards without people's permission. And then I'll put it up in a way that it's really hard to take down so they never do it. Sweet. Okay, well, I'll look more at that stuff at the end of the presentation. We're almost done, guys. I just want to cover a couple more things. So what can we do? What can we do right now? Right now. Not just like thinking like super imaginatory about it. What can we do right now? So we can help raise awareness, right? We can share all of this information with the people that we know. We can get them like super upset about it so we can all do something about it together. You can also join the Tobacco Prevention Coalition. You do that because you want to stay connected and up to date about local and statewide tobacco control issues. We talk about presentations just like this at our meetings all of the time. It's just really good educational information for you to go forward and to not just communicate to other people, but also to get involved if you have time or you want to be involved. You can also partner with others to encourage healthier community environments. Partner with your church, partner with your school, partner with all of these places, because more than anything, We need volunteers, and we need people who are really passionate about these topics and passionate about our youth. And also just stay informed and share resources that help others quit. That's another thing that if you're on my TPC email list, I'm able to just share this information with you, different resources that you can pass on to others, but also just updates, again, about local and statewide tobacco control issues. Okay, questions. Apparently I didn't put my email in there, so I'm going to type in the chat for anyone that wants it. Okay. Does anyone have any questions at all? You guys were such a great group. I knew this was going to be the best thing ever. No questions? Okay, sweet. Bailey, I will definitely send you, I will definitely add you to our emailing list now that I have your email. Anybody else have anything? Nothing at all? Does anybody have any events coming up that they want to share? I'll go ahead and stop the recording. Everyone wave, so it's a beautiful ending.